The topic that was asked for today is the topic of devotion. What's the benefit of devotion? Why be devoted? Those of us from the West, devotion is a very difficult subject. It comes much more easily to people from India who are born and raised in this beautiful culture. But for those of us who come in from outside, we're not so used to a culture of devotion. And yet, devotion is probably the best answer to anything that ails us. Physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, in every aspect of our life. Here's the thing. We are devoted anyway. Even if you say, I don't want to be devoted, we are devoted. It's just most of us are devoted to our own egos. We're devoted to our own perception of how things are. We're devoted to getting our own way. We're devoted to enjoying our life the way we want to enjoy it. So we're actually already devoted. The problem is that we're devoted to things that lead us deeper and deeper into anxiety and depression. That was the other topic raised for today, is depression. Not having real devotion in your life is one of the easiest ways to be depressed. Because if all we are attached to, all we're connected to, all we're devoted to, is our own perception, getting our own way, our own egos, our own misunderstandings, our own achievement, where we are career-wise, where we are financially, where we are socially. I look better than someone else looks. I've got more expensive jewelry. I've got a better job. I've got a better situation. Or how to get it my own way. You should talk to me, act, live your life in the way that I want you to. If those are the only things I'm devoted to, it's a sure equation, a sure prescription for depression. So what real devotion does is real devotion takes us out of ourselves into something that is so much bigger, so much more eternal. See, our lives on the physical level, on the mundane level, are constantly changing. Sunny day today, rainy day tomorrow. Stock market is up today, it's down tomorrow. Everybody is nice to me today, they're mean to me tomorrow. If this is what I'm devoted to, my life goes up and down. But if what I'm devoted to and what I'm connected to is something that's eternal, something that's bigger, deeper, more profound than just this physical life, then it gives me a chance to actually plug in to what Puja Swamiji calls the divine powerhouse. We really get a chance to be connected to that energy. And from that, everything is possible. Whether you look at Hanumanji, my favorite example is after the war in Lanka. We don't have time to go into the whole story of the Ramayana, but hopefully most of you are at least enough familiar with it to know we have the war. Hanuman serves as the devotee of Lord Ram and ends up being really like the hero of the war. He's the one who rescued Sita Ma. He's the one who helped Lord Ram win this entire war against Ravan. But at the end of the war, without going into the details of the Ramayana, but at the end of the war, when he's asked, how did you do it? I mean, Hanumanji is in the form of a monkey. How did you do it? How did you fly across the ocean? Because during the story, he performs all of these feats. He flies across the ocean to get to Lanka. He carries the entire Himalayas in his hand in order to bring back the herb that's going to save Lakshman's life. He holds the sun under his arm to stop it in its tracks. He makes himself enormous. He makes himself tiny. He does all of these miracles. And he's asked, how did you do it? Now, what does Hanumanji say? What he doesn't say is, well, you know, I've been training a lot at the gym and I've been lifting a lot of weights and going through, you know, this wonderful process to learn to fly. I've got the best trainer, the best coach, or I got some magic herbs. A wonderful Vedya gave me the herbs of invincible strength. He doesn't even say, I've got some kind of a magic mantra. Nothing like that. What he says is very simple. He says, I just close my eyes and I take Lord Ram's name, I take God's name, and it happens. It happens. This is the fruit of devotion. This is the magic of devotion. It makes things happen. Now, it's not that it always makes things happen in the outer world. It's not that we become devoted with an ulterior motive of if I get devoted, then I too can fly. Hanumanji was not devoted so that he could do magic tricks. The miracles were due to the devotion, not the other way around. And many times it's internal. In our own life, you look at Mirabai, another incredible example, historical example of devotion. She's handed poison. But in that poison, what she sees is nectar, Krishna's nectar. Now, I love this on a personal level because it's the intersection of science and spirituality. It actually was poison. The bowl was poison. We have the history. This is not mythology. And yet, what matters more than actually what we're taking in is how we think about it. What matters more than what is happening in our life is our perception of it. And this is what Mirabai was able to do through devotion. She was so convinced through her devotion that everything that came to her was only Krishna. I mean, if there's nothing but Krishna in the world, then this bowl is also Krishna. There's nothing separate from Krishna. So what she was given, even though chemically, molecularly, scientifically, should have killed her. But her perception of it as nectar from Krishna was strong enough to overpower the molecular structure of the liquid. She gets given a basket of a poisonous snake. But again, everything is Krishna. So by the time she's got the lid off the basket, what's in it? A garland of flowers. This is the power of devotion. It literally alchemically transforms our lives. It is what carries us across this ocean when we talk about the ocean of samsara, and we talk about how to break the bonds of this cycle of birth and death, how to get free. It's only devotion. It's only that love. You know, we talk about the practice of non-attachment, detachment as this great spiritual virtue. That if you want to go anywhere spiritually, you have to be unattached. And it's a question that comes up so frequently here. How do I detach myself while living in the world? How do I detach myself from things with my family or things with my job or whatever it is that's causing us stress and frustration and depression? And again, devotion is the answer. Bhakti is actually the mother of Vairagya. Now, what this makes us understand is that detachment is not a pushing away. It's not saying, I don't want to pay attention to these things in my life. I don't want to be attached. Because if my attention is just on that, then what I'm doing with my life is not being attached. I'm still thinking about it. So if we say, okay, I'm not going to be attached to my children, and all day long we chant this mantra, I'm not going to be attached, I'm not going to be attached. Well, my brain and my mind and my mental energy is still not being attached to my children. I might as well be attached. I might as well be attached to my job, be attached to my possessions, whatever it is I'm trying to detach from. If I'm doing it by trying to push that away, then my energy and my focus and my mind and my attention are just as much with them. So devotion again is the answer. Because through bhakti, we get vairagya, which makes us understand that as we are devoted, rest-filled, juice-filled, beautiful bhakti, we actually reattach ourselves to the divine, to something that, as I began, is eternal, is so much deeper and more profound and higher and bigger than anything that we are stressed or worried about or attached to on this plane of existence. So by reattaching ourselves to the divine, in form, without form, with name, without name, it doesn't matter. Whatever we are attached to of the divine automatically pulls us away from the attachment to things here. And that's what fills us. So devotion is the key. In order to be devoted, though, we have to let go a little. Because the enemy of devotion is control. Control and ego. Because I cannot simultaneously be devoted to you, whether you as my guru, whether you as a being, whether you as divine. Divine with form, divine without form. I cannot simultaneously be devoted and trying to control everything. Every minute I try to control is a moment I'm not surrendered. And so, in order to actually bring devotion into our life, we have to let go of control. Control of how we thought the universe should be. Control of how we thought our lives should be. What we think we should get, how we think it should be. So that whatever comes from God, we are able to see as prasad, like Mirabai. And that's the transformation. It's not, how can I look at that bowl of poison and scream at God, scream at my husband, scream at my in-laws, scream at the maid who brought it in, and try to control it that way. No. How many people are we going to keep screaming at? How many people are we going to keep trying to change? The only way to change is to change our perception. And that's the fruit of devotion, is that it literally didn't change her husband, didn't change her in-laws, didn't change the maid who brought her the bowl, but it actually turned the poison to nectar. And that's what devotion does.